I know everything there is to know about the greatest game ever invented.
Cortez on the line. Cortez is a NBA expert, sports expert with Balls in Our Court podcast. How you doing tonight, Cortez?
Doing pretty well, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Oh, anytime, man, anytime. So we're going to be talking some Dwight Howard, NBA action, Magic, Dwight Howard, Houston Rockets. What's Dwight Howard in Houston right now? Now, what can they do in the West?
I tell you what, man, that team in the West is, you know how the Wild Wild West is, man. It's just like 10 teams that deep out there. But this team is pretty interesting because they got Trevor Ariza back, and this is someone that you need to defend. The problem that you have with the Rockets is the defensive woes that they had. Dwight is still not a player himself because he had the back injury, and he's still trying to get fully healed. We already know about James Harden and his defense, but what he brings on the offense side of the ball, he's just such a playmaker, gifted scorer. And so this team, you know, definitely when you get far into the playoffs, you really need to go ahead and defend on the other side of the ball.
So, I mean, where are you projecting them? I mean, like you said, it's the Wild West. It's going to be, you never know. There's about 10 teams for 8 slots. But where do you see them finishing?
I'll tell you what, man, that division that they're playing in, it's going to be the best division in basketball this year. You know, you got Memphis, you got all the Texas teams, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, and then you got an up-and-coming team in New Orleans. This team, Houston, I got them projected in the mid, probably about 4th or 5th seed, depending on how that division goes. But, about 4th or 5th seed, man, because that West is really scary.
If they get the 4th or 5th seed, that would be doing really, really good for Houston because I don't see them getting that high. But they do have the talent. Now, let's talk real quick, since I do know that you follow the Magic a little bit. When they had their run with Howard and Van Gundy is in Detroit now. Now, how can he do in Detroit? Because they have the talent in Detroit. I don't know if the mindset is there, but how can he do it? And what kind of coach is Van Gundy really?
Man, Van Gundy is a guy that preaches the ball on the defense side of the ball. He's a guy that wants you to go ahead and defend from every position. Stan Van Gundy is a guy that also is, when you got a big like Andre Drummond, he wants you to space out the floor. So what you want to do is 1 through 4, you better learn how to shoot a jumper and spread out the floor and work the big man because the inside-out game is how Stan Van Gundy make his wave. The thing about Stan that I like about him, he's going to push you. He's going to try to maximize your strengths more than your weaknesses are. Stan is always he's a little stubborn. That's his only downfall. But I tell you what, Detroit's going to be a scary team. But watch out for Andre Drummond. You got Josh Smith. If you can get Josh Smith's head in the right place, then that team, I already picked Detroit to make the playoffs, pretty much like a low A seed. But in a few years, that team will be scary when Andre Drummond reaches potential.
You know, I got to agree with you. I think Drummond, you know, and I like Van Gundy. A lot of people are kind of hard on him, and I think he's a good coach, man. I think he can do something, you know, in Detroit. But we'll see. We'll see how that pans out. Now, going back to the Magic here, you got Victor Oladipo. I think he got hurt right now, but how good of a player can he be?
I'll tell you what, sky limit for Victor. Victor is actually, it's funny, man. He was ready to play the season opener. He had a sprained MCL, and a couple of days before the season opener, he actually got a facial fracture. So he's out indefinitely. With those injuries, it's hard to predict. Sometimes you can get out from 0, like at least a couple of games to at least about 3 months. We're hoping not 3 months because I just got done watching the Magic game. We're 0-2 right now. Victor Oladipo, man, he's one of the guys that you hate to kind of put these player comparisons on him, but a little bit Dwayne Wade light. This guy can create his own shot of dribble, defense high on the side of the ball. This guy, and it's tell you, the only thing that he really needs to work on is his jump shot. It's not consistent. But Victor, he's pretty much been having the keys to the franchise because, you know, Jameer Nelson's not there anymore. Aaron Aflalo was traded. And so they pretty much saying, you know what, this is your team. You're the starting 2 guard. We're not going to commit to Aaron Aflalo, who was up for a contract this year. But I'm telling you, man, Victor has a relentless motor. This guy gets it on the other side of the ball, and he's just a leader, man. He's just up and coming. This is the guy that you want on your team. These type of players you really want on your team. He had a quote saying coming into the season. he was saying if we want teams to come in here and say, man, them boys can play. They're hard to play against. And that's how you want to do in a home court, and you want to follow him, Victor Oladipo. I'm telling you, in a few years, even this year, he's on a rise. Keep a lookout for him, guys.
Yeah, I agree with you. Victor is very athletic. You're right about his jumper. He needs to work on that inconsistent. But, D-Wade's jumper is not always, on, and I think that's kind of been something that he didn't work on. But I think he's athletic, and I think you're right. I think he can be a regular. And he plays defense. That's another thing. He really plays
very
defense.
Good defense.
And he likes playing defense. I know in college he really enjoyed it, and I think that really helped them as a team when he was playing with the Hoosiers. But with the Magic, are they going to make the playoffs this year?
I tell you what, man, the Magic, I think they can project it to get about between 28 to about 34 wins. And in the East, you know how bad it is to kind of get in there. You can be a below 500 team to get in the East. But I just think right now, man, they are not there yet. I think I got them going to be the 10th seed. I think they're going to surprise some people. A lot of people projecting the Magic to be probably the third worst team in the NBA. But I tell you what, man, we got Channing Frye, who's a little bit of a cost to go ahead and get him on the team. But this guy, if you know about analytics, it's all about spacing the floor. You got drivers on the team as far as Victor Oladipo, the rookie, and Effer Payton, who needs space. You also need Nikola Vucevic, who needs his space in the post, which that guy, keep an eye out for him. If you don't know who Nikola Vucevic is, you'll learn by the end of the year. The guy already had a 23-rebound game against the front line against the New Orleans Pelicans in the season opener. But this team, the sky's the limit for him, man. They're still up and coming. Tobias Harris, another guy you want to keep an eye out for. Tobias Harris and Victor actually participated in the USA preliminaries where they go ahead and play with the teams. And so I tell you what, in a few years, they're doing things the right way. They're trying to build them up, and I know a lot of people saying the coach is the downfall right now, but I'm the jury's still out on him. I'm gonna go ahead and wait till a year if I give another judgment on him. So Orlando, my opinion, they'll probably be a 10th seed this year.
Okay. Well, I mean, Jack Vaughn, I don't know either. It is kind of out on him. He's getting some bad press. But we'll see on Jack Vaughn. I think he was a great college player at Kansas. Didn't have the pro career, but I think he knows the game. I really do. I think, playing under Roy Williams in college, I think he knows the game. We'll see. It's different. You got to have players. And you said a couple years, and speaking of players, can Orlando hold a superstar? You got Shaq in the 90s goes to L.A. Dwight follows in the footsteps as Shaq goes to L.A., now Houston. Can they... You're saying, let's say Victor gets the keys, has the keys. Let's say he turns into a D-Wade type of player. Can Orlando hold him there?
And see, that's the thing I know everybody have the questions here is that I think this management that we have in now, they're looking beyond that. They're trying to make sure that they have a vision. Otis Smith, as he had as streaky of a GM as he was. When we got Dwight and we started getting good, and we start actually being real competitive, being championship status, you got to really lay a vision past that. You got the pieces there. I know some people want to throw in the pieces for now and try to win it all, but you got to think of the future here. Like, okay, there's a lot of these parts here that we have with the Magic. There's some interesting pieces here. So in case some of these guys does not work out, you're going to go ahead and trade and get more assets. It's all about getting assets right now as a rebuilding team. So, for example, Aaron Follow, he was on the team last year. He got traded for a young player. As far as his name is Evan Fournier. The year before, J.J. Redick, he was traded because he was up for a contract, and he got traded for Tobias Harris. So he's trying to get these pieces and see if they fit. They don't fit. You showcase them, and you try to, jigsaw the puzzle and bring it in. But as of right now, you're right. We got to try to figure a way to hold on to these players. And it's a process that you want to go ahead and keep being competitive and then try to if you get enough of these assets to nail a superstar, to put like a Victor Oladipo and a Nick Vucevic, then by me, you got them there to trade. If not, get some draft picks. If you see a superstar in the draft, go that route.
Right. It's a team game, so you got to build a team. And, I mean, that's just the bottom line. So you're absolutely right. They got to get draft picks. So we'll see. Okay, I appreciate having you on, Cortez. We're going to link up your stuff on our site, NBA Expert Cortez there. Balls in Our Court is the podcast that you're available on. Thank you for joining us.
Definitely. Hey, before I let y'all go, make sure y'all check out the Facebook page, Ball in Our Court Podcast. We're trying to do big things here, me and my partner. Whenever y'all want to have me back on and talk a little basketball, football, I'm more than glad to be back on the show.
Absolutely, and we'll link those up on all our websites. Thanks for coming on, man.
All right, you bet. Appreciate it, guys.